All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
Thank you, please. The Friday audience is my favorite audience. Please be folks. Please be seated. I am overwhelmed by your recorded adulation. Thank you. What a show we have for you today. So glad that you could be here. It is a wrap on a week that has been so very eventful in the world of politics, in the world of climate. We'll update the situation with the hurricane, which is a record tropical weather system in many ways. Kim has left her position as the ranking officer in her household to be here today in the News Nook.
Kim, how are you?
Yeah. She raises 2 kids. Barely a little help from her husband is what she tells me. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
We said this the other day, and her husband actually jumped into the chat going, I help out raising the kids also.
Yeah. A little bit.
Anyway, Tony is here for Albert.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah. Tony, we've got some new commercials to look at. These are commercials that are politically oriented. And then there is a new magical Trump grift that will debut today as well. I'm excited also about a big announcement that has to do with our show and a move that we're making. I mean, I don't know if that's the right word, a decision that we've made to attend something quite special in San Francisco. It's a major announcement from the show.
Major announcement from the Mark Thompson Show. A major announcement.
And I brought in this case, Courtney to give us a little bit of information because she's been the driving force behind this. And so please, a warm, recorded welcome for Courtney.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank
everybody. You. Now, what is happening, Courtney? We're going to San Francisco.
We're going to San Francisco. Finally, this show pays off for me. All the free hours of murder coverage.
What?
I finally get something out of it.
Right.
I am so excited because this is my wheelhouse, Mark.
Sure,
this is where I like to live.
Yeah.
Which is in high society. But this is an incredible event. And I
only wish that weren't true. Yeah.
I was so excited to learn about it and be invited to it. And so we will be in San Francisco.
Well, what is it?
Well, I'll tell you. We'll be in San Francisco for the San Francisco Fall Show.
Yeah, the San Francisco Fall Show. Now, it's right there on your screen. And for those listening, I'll just read it for you. The San Francisco Fall Show is art, antiques, design. It has all the glamour.
Yes.
But also the elegance is paired with an accessibility for the public.
It is.
It's not like
it is.
you have this thing isn't like priced so only rich people can go to this thing or whatever.
No. It's open to everybody. This is the 42nd year of this event. And this year's theme is black and white, which I'm particularly excited about. And the co-chairs are Aaron Lauder and Wes Gordon. He's the creative director of Carolina Herrera, which is an incredible brand, and also just him as a designer and what he's done in the space for fine art and fashion and design is incredible. So it's very exciting. It runs from October 17th through the 20th.
Right.
And there are lectures, there are book signings.
Yeah, it's really quite a...
it's about, I think it's 10:30 in the morning till like 5-ish in the afternoon, Thursday and Friday, and then I think Saturday and Sunday, maybe 11 to 5.
But you can just go and knock around,
But you can just go and knock around.
That's what I'm doing.
Izzy's has a pop-up restaurant there.
Oh, yeah, there's a pop-up
I think
restaurant.
Izzy is a favorite of San Franciscans, and they're going to have a pop-up restaurant there. You can order ahead. You can actually make reservations right now for Izzy's.
Look at Tony's got the whole schedule up there.
Oh, yeah.
For everybody to see.
I will be at some of the lectures on Thursday and Friday.
You will be in attendance.
I'm less of a draw, but I will be. Mark is going to be joining me on Thursday and Friday at the event.
You're the only reason I'm going. So there you go.
Yeah,
you're a big enough draw to me.
Very excited about it. It is one of the longest, as I mentioned, one of the longest running events of its kind. The Robb Report has mentioned it as being one of the best of its kind. And so I'm very excited to be invited. People from all over the world come to San Francisco for this event. So
we're very excited.
It's at the Festival Pavilion.
It's
at Fort Mason.
Is it Fort Mason? Yeah, it's in Fort Mason.
But it's at the Festival.
At the Festival Pavilion in Fort Mason. But quickly, let me just mention this, and I'll mention it again. But the tickets you can get now, and you get a discount on them, and they're not expensive anyway. I mean, I think we'd all agree. Tickets are $20, or what is it, $22.79?
Tickets are right around $20, and then you get 25% off with the show's special code.
So we have a discount code on this, MARK.
All caps. And if you go to their website, you can click through to buy the tickets on Eventbrite. Again, the show's code for the discount is MARK, all capitals, letters. You can also go to Eventbrite and search for the event, but
which is SF Fall Show. The San Francisco Fall Show, and again, sffallshow.org. Tickets at eventbrite.com, and the code is in all capital letters, MARK.
Yes, I found a jacket that I'd like for this event, Mark. It's by Carolina Herrera.
Wow,
it's only $2,500.
Wow, I hope you have it already.
That really kind of jacks up the price of the ticket, Courtney. I don't know.
I know, Mark. Really? I have to wear something by Wes Gordon. So.
I see. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you find something in your closet, because I'm certainly not going to support any endeavor of acquisition of anything new for this.
But yeah, I'm very excited.
But we will be there. I think the day that we'll probably be knocking around will be Thursday.
Yes.
We're going to do the show from San Francisco. And then we're going to head over to Fort Mason and knock around on Thursday.
Yes.
But the event's going on, maybe Friday also.
I'm going to try to go to a couple of the lectures on Friday. There's 3 lectures on Thursday and Friday. There are 2 lectures on Saturday and Sunday. You can find out the schedule also on Eventbrite and their website. But yeah, we'll probably be there Thursday and maybe Friday.
Wow. Very, very cool.
The website is sffallshow.org for people listening, or eventbrite.com for tickets, code MARK.
Yes.
Exactly, capital letters. I have to say something about Kim. I love her voice. Like, just when we're talking, and then she comes in and goes, just to remind everyone. She has a great... I'm telling you something, Kim. I hate to pay you a compliment, but I will tell you that I think you really... you have a voice that could... that could be a moneymaker for Kim.
Oh,
I think
I think that's literally what she does.
Yeah, instead of... But I'm saying she could be a voiceover artist.
Gosh. I mean...
sign me up for an agent. Let's get going.
Yeah, you're talking to one of the greats.
William, that was the wrong one, Randy. Sounds hoity-toity, says William. I think
it's accessible, though. Like, it's stuff... The tickets are $20. You get a 25% discount.
Right. How hoity-toity is $20?
It's really... It's designers from all over the world come, and it should be really great.
I think I would call it toity, but not hoity. I think that, so you're going to have a sense of hoity-toity, but you're not going to be locked out of the hoity-toity. You're going to be included and welcomed into the toity land of hoity-toity.
I do think this is coming from someone who's not a San Francisco native, but I think of San Francisco, I think of culture and fine art. And certainly this event is part of that community. It is part of what is the culture around fine art in the city of San Francisco. And so if you're looking to support the fine arts, this is really, truly a great organization, and it should be a wonderful event. Yeah,
we're going there. We're going there to support. And again, the dates on it.
The 17th through the 20th.
Right. And it's sffallshow.org. Tickets at eventbrite.com. Code MARK in all capital letters. Courtney, thank you. That has been a major announcement. And
this has been a major announcement of the Michael Thompson Show. A major announcement.
It's true. It is. Now it's official. So thank you, Courtney. And good luck picking out a dress.
Thank you for having me. So nice to hear your voice, Kim.
Oh, you too, Courtney. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Isn't that sweet?
I have to tell you, I didn't think I was really into art and design until I started looking at this website. It's called Dezeen, Dezeen.
Oh,
And I
wow.
share a lot of, like, they have sustainable fabrics and new technologies as far as, design technologies and how design is incorporated into tech. And I share a lot of stories on the after party, like that, we wouldn't have time to share on this show. And I've discovered that I really am into design and art. And so this event calls to me.
Oh, that's cool.
I love that.
Well, it would be great if we can get Kim to. I didn't want to obligate Kim to anything.
Yeah,
because
that
she's
would be
raising
great.
2 children essentially on her own.
I was at
true.
an art
So,
fair last night, and I was talking to a San Francisco artist, and he was very excited about this event. So yeah, I do think this is really a staple and a part of the fine art scene and community in San Francisco for a long time. So I hope I get to see you there, Kim.
Yeah. Very cool.
Hope to get to see maybe some folks from our world here on the show will
Yes,
come
I
through.
hope to
Would love
see-
it.
yeah.
Love to meet them and hang out and knock around and pretend that we're hoity-toity.
Yeah,
Because,
you guys, you can compliment me in my $2,500 jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
God, that's insane. I
I
really
will not
don't
be
know.
in a $2,500 jacket, but hey,
I
at least
don't know
one of
how
us
you're
will be
gonna
looking
get
good.
I don't know how you're going to get the money to pay for that jacket. I don't want to know how you're going to get the money. But good luck with it. All right, Courtney, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Well, with the preliminaries out of the way, I thought I'd quickly mention something which is it's so big that it's actually caused us here to rethink something that we do every Friday. We talk about Florida every Friday with the offbeat, the weird, and Albert has curated another great edition of Friday Fabulous Florida, but we felt that it would be a bit tone deaf for us to do Friday Fabulous Florida today, given what Floridians are dealing with, what they had to deal with overnight. This is a record tropical weather system that is now moving into the southeast. As you know, I have a background in meteorology, and I can tell you that the greatest release of moisture and energy from these systems, and this is an insane thing because they have so much in the way of energy and moisture as they make landfall, these hurricanes and tropical weather systems. But an even bigger release of the energy is when they fall apart. So when you're actually assessing precipitation totals and damage related to wind and rain, oftentimes the wind and rain totals and the cumulative effects, if you want to speak of it that way, can be even greater as the system falls apart, which is what it's doing now. I think it's now a tropical storm, as I saw last. So my point is simply, Florida has been pummeled, Georgia, now the Carolinas, into Tennessee, Kentucky. These are all regions that are being so dramatically affected. The impacts from Helene, and you can see the wide area. Tony's got it up there. The remnants of this storm bringing widespread rain and gusty winds, as is noted there. But as I've suggested, tremendous flooding potential, and the potential devastation continues, even though it's not a hurricane anymore. That said, so we're going to eschew Florida today, right? We're not going to do Friday Fabulous Florida. Isn't that right, Kim?
I think even if we do it we should mention that Helene, and we should talk about that and kind of hit that first. So we know that people understand what they're going through there.
So I'm unclear, Kim. Did we decide we're not going to do it then? Or we're not? We are going to do it, but we're going to pay a tip of the hat. You've changed your position, Kim.
Kim, how are you?
I waffle back and forth. I don't know. Maybe we should take a poll.
Okay. If people want us to do Florida, we will. Kim would like us to do a poll. We can actually poll it in the chat. But it's a pain in the ass for Tony to throw it together. Tony, what's your recommendation, Tony? I'm going to let you make the decision.
Thanks, Tony.
Oh, I don't put nothing on me. I'm filling in today.
We had thought we wouldn't do it, and then
There we go. I mean,
sounds like
Randy's here.
Kim's feeling. Don't
Randy,
do Florida today. Oh, Randy is.
Do it.
Randy, let's do it. Just, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to put Teacher
I'll put a
Lori
poll up. Give you a minute.
from our chat. I'd like to put Teacher Lori on in a debate with Randy. Those are my two from the chat.
That
These
would
are
be strong.
two people who are smart. They're very well informed, I think, and I feel as though they both like to argue. You know what I mean? That's what my sense of it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I think they enjoy that kind of like feverish discourse. So, let me ask Mr. Predicto. What Mr. Predicto, will we do Friday Fabulous Florida today, Mr. Predicto?
The signs say no.
Oh, wow. So Mr. Predicto is saying we won't do it. Man.
Motorbike fan wants to know if the work is done. The work is done. Albert left a great Friday Fabulous Florida for us.
Yeah, it's actually really good. He curated a solid segment before he went to Hawaii. But anyway, Floridians need a good laugh too, says Mike in Willow Glen. Well, I don't know that they're laughing.
Poll is
it's
up.
Pretty. The poll is up in the chat. Those of you watching now, you can vote in the chat, and you will decide whether we do Friday Fabulous Florida today. So I demand a hand recount. Already, Billy is saying that. By the way, did you see what Mike Johnson said, the Speaker of the House, and a total election denier? And Mike Johnson, and I know he's a Bible thumper. He's that bigoted tweet that was, who was it? Chip Roy, who served up that bigoted tweet. Mike Johnson said, well, he's going to go pray. And he went and prayed, and he decided to take it down. I mean, it's like, that was a weird thing to say. I mean, why did he need to go pray and talk to God before he realized that was a bigoted tweet? It was about the Haitians. But anyway, more to the point, Mike Johnson has said, when asked if Kamala Harris wins the election, will you certify it? Because he's in the House, right? He'd have to certify it. Now, again, if the House changes hands, that would be different. But he said, I would certify it only if I were sure that it was a free and fair election. That's their go-to boilerplate line, which means no. Mike Johnson, you'll remember, he was very much part of J6 and the move to suggest that millions voted illegally in this country. So anyway, as I look at Mike Johnson and this world of recounts, and you made me think of it with the I demand a hand recount, I look at a situation which is on course by design to be challenged by the GOP, regardless of the realities. And there are no realities suggesting that people are in this country illegally voting. I mean, there are no examples of that. None. Okay,
As a matter of fact, in Arizona, the Secretary of Elections there stood up and was talking about what happened with their technical issues, and said that they've done studies and it's shown that it's so rare and so scarce that this would ever even happen.
Yeah, and so to that point, the fact that they can continue to hatch this ridiculousness, which they know is ridiculousness. It's not, they know it's just a power grab. But that's what this is about. The ends justify the means. And to their devious credit, you scream it loud enough, you get enough other legislative coalitions to back you, meaning it'll be Mike Johnson, it'll be Jim Jordan, they'll impanel a House committee right away looking at the way that millions of illegal immigrants voted in this country illegally. They'll create the crap around this lie. This is what your House of Representatives is doing. Okay, this is what the leader of the House is doing with his henchmen. And all I'm suggesting is that's all you need to do long enough to then throw it to the Trump-chosen Supreme Court and then back to the House of Representatives, where it'll be one state, one vote, and that's how the GOP wins the presidency. Not by the traditional vote, but by this new way of gaming the system. It's outrageous, and it's real. And frankly, they're on course to do it again. So, all right, I want to, I've got a lot to get to, but before I get to
The Mark Thompson Show.
Sure, says Trevor, I moved to L.A. and you make a public appearance in San Francisco. Yeah, we need to do something in Southern California, Trevor. You're absolutely right. Thank you for the super sticker, by the super chat.
Big shout out.
Mark and Kim, get the people going. from the 530, Billy DeBona.
Big shout out.
Yeah, you know it. Thank you, Billy. Right on. Wow, Lucy is this the Lucy McAllister again today?
I didn't see that we had it earlier, but
my favorite McAllister.
Yeah.
With a $20 super sticker. Big shout out. And I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Lucy, you are my favorite. You know that. And you probably think, those looking in, and maybe even you, Kim, that Lucy McAllister is my favorite McAllister simply because she throws in $20 super stickers regularly. And you would be right. That's exactly. My love can be bought, and Lucy has purchased it, and she can show you the receipt. Bunker bomb may have killed Hezbollah's commander, says Edward Lee. Maybe you can give us more on that, Kim. The Middle East situation is part of a much longer conversation. We've had bits and pieces of it here. I'm happy to have it as we continue. No contendo. Did DeSantis leave Florida ahead of the storm? That's a great question. I thought I saw him address...
There. He was doing TV on last night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought I saw him address the media. I think he is there. Ted Cruz would have left the state if it were a Ted Cruz situation, as you know, the way he did when there was that deep freeze in Texas. But aside from that...
It was obviously a mistake, and in hindsight, I wouldn't have done it.
Exactly. The no contendo has his voting police. No illegals caught. Exactly. Thank you, no contendo. It's true. I mean, it's all a fraud. The idea somehow that there are illegals voting in the election is an utter fraud. It's an utter made up. There's no evidence of it at all. And still, we spend American dollars impaneling portions of the legislature, investigating it. And then, as you know, when Donald Trump became president, he asked for there to be because he didn't want it's embarrassing to make these claims and then have no follow through. So once again, just to cover Trump's embarrassed reality, they actually did an investigation about illegals voting in New England. He said 2 to 3 million illegals voted in New England states. And of course, it was found that there was nothing there. But that is money and time spent on that investigation simply because Trump said it. Why so surprised about Republican antics? Exactly, says Iman. All right, let's... I wanted to get to this package on the storm. Can we do that? And then I will take you through the latest grift, and you'll update in the super chat right now. I'm sorry, in the chat right now is a poll as to whether or not we should do our regular segment, Friday Fabulous Florida. Yes is leading 71% to 29%. Okay. Wow. We were like, we tone deaf to do Florida.
I just didn't want you guys to think we were insensitive to what they're going through, right?
Why is it that, Kim, you sound particularly sultry today? Why is that?
I don't know.
Do you think I finally realized that you have a great sultry sound? And
I think you do. I do.
I've been ignorant to it all this time.
Mm-hmm. I think
sometimes Dorothy Gale said it best in The Wizard of Oz, where she said, sometimes you just have to realize that, everything you're looking for is in your own backyard. That's what
exactly
she said.
Right.
Yeah, that's it. Right. You should turn your visit to San Francisco into an in-person meetup. Let's hang out, says Karen. I love that.
Agreed.
Well, that would be
big shout out.
Big shout out to Karen for the
everybody
$5
to the Red
super
Jack
chat. Yeah, we could rally at the Red Jack. Mm-hmm. Maybe we will do that. I will keep you posted. I will be doing the show from there. So as we get more momentum, this is if you're just joining us in October, which is just a couple of weeks away. October 17th through 20th is this design show, and we're looking forward to being there. And maybe we'll turn it into a meetup afterward or something. So, all right, Tony. Let's just show a little bit of what's happening weather-wise. I'll have some thoughts. And then to the Trump grift. I've got Michael Shure in the second hour, along with the Culture Blaster Michael Snyder as well, so a lot to get to. But here is the update on Hurricane Helene.
Good luck, everybody.
This morning, a monster storm unleashing its fury overnight on Florida's Gulf Coast. Hurricane Helene, a catastrophic Category 4, showing no mercy, destroying property, flooding hotel lobbies, businesses, and homes, and submerging vehicles in oceans of water.
This is terrible.
Helene not only bringing hurricane force winds to the region, but also a historic storm surge. And tonight, on top of all this, the threat of tornadoes. Violent winds up to 100 miles per hour slamming into Florida. Floodwaters sending waves over this highway in Tampa. And treacherous driving conditions with trees blocking roads and this boat completely shored up. Unsurvivable storm surge transforming neighborhoods with chest-high water in some areas and homes completely flooded inside, leaving this man to take refuge in a kayak, and torrents of water slamming into bridges as well, turning roads into rivers. All of it inundating towns right in the center of Florida's Gulf coastline.
I've worked here in this organization for 21 years. These are the highest surge numbers I've ever seen.
And this moment lighting up the night sky, showing what appears to be a possible transformer exploding in St. Petersburg. The storm leaving more than 1 million customers without power across the region. Tampa General putting up an aqua fence in place to keep the water at bay, and it held up.
In this backpack, I have...
Some on Florida State's campus in Tallahassee forced to shelter in place.
We're going to be awake through the night watching this through the window.
The overnight landfall of Helene challenging for rescue teams, forced to save lives in the dark. As many as 40 people pulled from the rising water in Pasco County. And facing dangerous conditions with one crew in Pinellas County encountering homes engulfed in flames.
Anybody in your house?
In Clearwater, the elderly helped to safety, being carried out by first responders.
Once the winds start getting up to a certain point, we even have to hunker down.
And extraordinary rescues captured on camera, like the Coast Guard saving this man and his dog after his sailboat capsized off Sanibel Island.
God, how do you end up in a
and we're back out now
off of Sanibel Island in the middle of a hurricane that is of record ferocity? I don't understand why you do that, but I don't mean to focus on that, but it's just so weird. Some of the rescues that these guys have to be involved in because people are out on their boat. I don't know. Anyway, glad they rescued the dog. And can't hear you, Kim, but I'm sure it's...
I said I was going to ding you for ferocity. But
oh, yeah.
Also, maybe he lives on his boat. Maybe he was trying to get to the safest place. Who knows?
No, Kim, with an adequate defense for the guy.
Kim, how are you?
Yeah, all right. I think you're right. You could be.
I don't know.
Although I just say,
my heart goes out to those people. That's rough, man.
If you live on your boat, I mean, you got to lock it down and get to, to get to high ground.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You all right? Yeah. It's horrible. I saw a video yesterday of a bridge right as the hurricane was making landfall. And the bridge was just being swept with water and people were trying to go through anyway. And it looked just like this place that you shouldn't be at all. And there was a line of cars right there. Really scary.
I mean, there you go. I mean, I don't know. There's certain things about tropical weather systems that favor you. And I'll tell you one of them. We have tremendous lead time on this stuff.
Yeah.
You have days to prepare, to make a plan. These weather systems are insanely powerful, especially now, because we've super cooked this planet. And what you have in hurricanes and tropical weather systems is the largest transfer of energy from one hemisphere to another. Right. So you have from one hemisphere to another, Mother Nature transferring energy, and it comes, that energy, from the ocean. So it's massive, but the whole thing takes place in such a relatively slow manner that you can get your family, get your belongings, get your boat to a safe place, and get yourselves to a safe place. Now, I want to wait for the last minute because I want to make sure that it's actually coming to where I am. I get it. I mean, there is some of that. But all I'm trying to say is the idea that you're sitting on a bridge waiting for cars in front of you to pass, and meanwhile the bridge is being inundated by storm surge, that just shouldn't happen. I mean, I really feel that, and I'm quite sympathetic to what it's like to live in the path of these tropical weather systems. I've endured them myself, but the reality is you do have plenty of time to plan, and, I just think that a lot of these situations could be avoided.
Speaking of your weather expertise, I saw this video on the Mark Thompson Show discussion board Facebook page last night that Janet R. posted, and it has some really lovely things about you. you have this sense of humor that sometimes people don't understand, that you're this really cool person who helps other people around you. It's the reason I'm sitting here right now. After our radio station imploded, and here I am, you picked me up and carried me along with you.
Wow.
And I feel like it's important for us to know who you are underneath the biting sarcasm and wit.
Well, all of a sudden, I'm very interested in that.
Do you know who I am?
I'm sort
I'm
of
kind of a big deal.
I was thinking as Kim was beginning, I'm thinking, oh, she's going to drone on about something that she saw. But then it would turn to me and compliments. And all of a sudden, I was quite interested. Yeah, let her finish.
Tony, do we have this video? I think it's from a fellow weather forecaster who you helped them get their start.
Oh, that's Bill Martin. Yeah, Bill Martin.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Very talented guy.
For sure, it's unusual, but I love these people, and I just got to thinking about it, I guess yesterday, because I posted it and had such a reaction on my Facebook thingy, and I just realized in life, there's people along the way who want you to succeed, and they all wanted me to succeed. I can't thank any of them enough, and they went out of their way to help me succeed. Mark Thompson was the first. Jan Knoll.
What?
Jan Knoll was a guy at the Weather
I was
Service.
the first.
I
love that.
He's Golden Gate Weather Services. He hooked me up with Mark Thompson, and then Mark hooked me up with Pat Finn, and that gave me the opening. Blah blah blah. But anyway, I just think about kids now, how hard it is to get going, and it was a little bit of luck. It was a lot of preparation. But either way,
he was a very talented
awesome
guy, Bill Martin.
Okay, so enough of that.
So if we could, that's really good. I love that. And in fact, Tony, if I could see that again, just the part about me, I would appreciate it. Maybe we don't have to do it now. We can do it later. But that was
He
very,
mentions
very
you
good.
again at the beginning, and it's just one of these things where, you didn't have to help someone. You didn't have to help a student try to get their start, and you did. So, very cool.
Well, I mean, Bill was very talented and is very talented, and it was really great. And also, like, in addition to being talented, I just like being around him. He was one of those guys with good energy. So it was really a pleasure to contribute to his success. Very, very cool. And but it's fun to be recognized. So so thank you. Kim, with a rare, uplifting
Kim, how are you?
piece of news related to me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. But just to... I'm sorry, Tony, you had something else or not? Is there another piece of video of somebody praising me? I would certainly stop the show for it.
No, but I found, just from the news story, it just made me laugh because when I was watching it, they showed this footage here of this guy.
Oh, this is wild. He's in a kayak in his home.
Yeah.
He's
because I started laughing because I was watching it last night.
But at least I'm not electrocuting myself anymore. We have the... But at least I'm not electrocuting myself anymore. We have we got the chlorine going, so try to disinfect some of this nastiness. That's good.
But yeah.
So for
and
those
just
listening,
posted this and it was the best
he's
I think ever
sitting
heard.
in his kayak
in
with
his Crocs
on.
Yeah.
And he's giving you a view sort of around his living room area or whatever, somewhere in his home. And it is filled halfway up the wall, it looks like, with water. And then he says, we've got some chlorine going. He's got a pool, one of those pool floating chlorine things that he is letting settle into that area. I mean, it's a vast area. It's a vast area.
I don't think that's going to make a difference.
Exactly. It's not going to,
Yeah.
Waiting for the alligators to come in uninvited, says Karen. Exactly. Wow. Anyway, so...
my contribution to Friday Fabulous Florida, right there. That guy.
That was very strong.
With the pool
That was very, very strong. Let's quickly check the poll. Should we do Friday Fabulous Florida or not because of all of this bad weather? The answer is yes. So we have to do it. We will in just a moment. Thank you for your vote. I guess we will do
Feel it in your soul.
Yes.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Right. It is a Friday, and on Friday we do some special things like Friday Fabulous Florida. So we'll get to it in
The Mark Thompson Show.
In just a second. You're probably saying, Mark, when are you going to talk about the Trump watch collection, which apparently is something that all America wants their hands on? I mean, it's weird because all I hear about from the GOP and Donald Trump is how bad the economy is. But apparently there are enough people with enough money to buy the Trump watches, which start at $450 but go all the way up to $100,000.
That's a pricey watch.
Yeah, I would say that is something that we do want to get to, and we will get it into the mix here, as well as sharing with you the actual pitch from Donald Trump. And remember, this is what he does best. He doesn't govern. He's not he was a president, I guess, because he was the image created by Mark Burnett as a legitimate businessman, as a successful businessman, and as a masterful administrator. We know none of those things are true. He was a failed businessman, couldn't administrate his way out of a paper bag. He ran his businesses like small businesses with his family and with grift and with corruption and with cheating contractors and cheating employees. All of those things he did. But Mark Burnett created this notion of him as a superhero of business and created a legitimacy around him that was enough to boondoggle, or whatever the word, what am I trying to say, to pull the wool over the eyes of the American public, or in sufficient numbers to win the 2016 election. The question is, having just been through an administration that seemed to have their act together, some degree of competence, compared to this other chaotic administration under Donald Trump, you wonder just how many people will succumb to the BS again. The BS is out there. There he is, Burnett with Trump. I feel as though, having been through it once, it's unlikely that America would decide they want this guy back. But what he does best, to get to my point, is he pitches. He is a pitch man. He is a brand builder. He does it with talent. He has a talent for that. He's a personality. I get it. You may not like him. He certainly isn't someone who has any kind of notion about a political philosophy or an economic philosophy. He has little to no understanding and no desire to understand any of that. He has no desire to govern. He just has a desire to make money and to build his brand and his profile. It's an ego play. And that is who Donald Trump is. So when he pitches watches and he pitches sneakers and he pitches everything else that's got his name on it, that's really what he does best. And so the latest is this watch thing. Now I feel with this lengthy ramp up, I should run it. And when do I run Florida? I can run it after that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is Donald Trump's latest endeavor. And I want you to watch it. I know you're going to think, perhaps many of you, this is cheesy, this is beneath the office of the presidency or anybody who's ever been president. There's nothing beneath Donald Trump, as you know. But I'd also say there's something else going on here too, and I will share that with you on the other side of the ad. But here he is, everybody's favorite former president, with his pitch.
Hello, everyone. It's your favorite president, Donald J. Trump, here to introduce something really special. I think you're going to love it. My new Trump watches. We're doing quite a number with watches, and the quality to me is very important. The Trump Victory Tourbillon. This isn't just any watch. It's one of the best watches made. It's a tourbillon watch with almost 200 grams of gold and more than 100 real diamonds. That's a lot of diamonds. I love gold. I love diamonds. We all do. Only 147 of these extraordinary watches will ever exist in the world, and owning one puts you in a very exclusive club. I have watch number one, and I'm going to keep it. It's mine, and that's the way I want to have it. Each watch is numbered and extremely rare, a true collector's item, and it includes a personal letter signed by me. Get your Trump watch right now. Go to gettrumpwatches.com. It's Trump time.
Just like our getmarkmerch.com. There they are. Discover the victory. Discover the victory collection from Donald Trump. Trevor says, I'm pretty sure all the Trump watches run backward until they reach 1950. Very nice. Yeah.
I'm not feeling like that's very presidential. Did you notice that he's got the watches he came
Big
out with
shout out. Yeah, go ahead.
yesterday?
Yeah.
He did a silver coin and a commercial for that as well.
Right.
He's got the crypto business that he's doing, and there's something else with him the last couple of weeks. I wonder if he's pushing all these things out one after the other because he's somehow afraid to lose and that he's going to be stuck with all the inventory.
If I gave you credit, $1,000 Trump credit, so you have to, this is on any one of the sites, I'm going to give you $1,000 credit.
Sure.
What item do you get, Kim? Do you get the sneakers? Do you get the one of the watches? You could, they have, I think, pink watches also.
Does it have to say Trump on it?
Well, yeah, it's something that's in the Trump collection. You just let the credit go, you'd never use it. Yeah.
I would say thank you very much for the offer, and no thank you.
I see. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Good day, sir.
Okay. The most expensive... I was pausing because I was thinking I just was going to remark on what Kim said, but I think he definitely is looking for every opportunity. The guy was pitching crypto, and he couldn't even tell you what crypto was. That was the last offering. Remember, the crypto involves, of course, his sons, and Barron is the guy who runs this digital currency and this digital currency exchange, which is really what it is. I think I understand more about what it is than Donald Trump, who was pitching it. And so when he was asked about it, as they were rolling it out, he couldn't tell you what it was or what it is. And similarly with the NFTs, he had the coins, the NFTs, the digital platform, now with the watches, the sneakers. He had the assassination sneakers. So this is a guy who's very comfortable in this place. And you're right, it's below the office of the president. But there is we have redefined what the president is. I mean, I'm sure many people of the Mitt Romney cut of GOP are going, oh my God, what's happened to this place? What's happened to the GOP? The GOP, in my view, I would agree with very little from a platform standpoint of the old GOP. But now, the new GOP is just power grab. It's just, we can say anything, do anything, follow this guy who, for some bizarre reason, Americans feel rallied around in sufficient numbers to carry us to victory once before. He's a powerful media personality. Let's follow him into power, and then we'll decide policy and the things we want to do with that power, because we have a real plan. We know the GOP is thinking. Everyone from Mike Johnson to Jim Jordan to Marjorie Taylor Greene, probably, they know that Trump is a vapid, vacuous, empty man who's only in it for self-aggrandizement and money. But the reality is that once he gets in, then the real agenda begins. The agenda to build a theocracy, the agenda to continue to take away women's reproductive freedoms, the agenda to give huge tax breaks, even greater tax breaks to corporate and business entities that already enjoy huge tax breaks. So the plan is follow this guy in who doesn't know what he's doing. He's going to go out to the golf course anyway, and he'll speak to the media on the way to the helicopter, and will craft policy and push it through. And now we have the Supreme Court as well. So that's what's really happening on the side of the GOP as Trump pushes all of these different grifts. The last thing I would say is that one of those watches is $100,000, as you saw, and you may think, well, who's going to buy that? Think about it for a second. Who's going to buy that? The same people who buy the same people who buy Don Jr.'s book, the same people who buy Melania's book, the same people who subsidize the Trump lifestyle through the various shell companies that are associated with the election. It's a way to shovel money into Trump's pockets, and it's very clever. Now, this $100,000 watch falls into the category of renting a floor of rooms in the Trump hotel when you're just trying to curry favor with Donald Trump. So here's how this works. The campaign can buy those watches, and that's a way of getting money into Donald Trump's pockets. Again, all sorts of ways using campaign funds to be able to money the pockets of Donald Trump. He's done it before. Look at the history. With that charity. Remember when the charity that he was running bought a portrait? It was a $10,000 portrait of Trump.
Yeah.
Remember that? So the $10,000 goes right back into Trump's pockets, and he walks away with this portrait for whatever reason, you know.
That was the charity that was shut down for fraud?
Thank you.
And they're no longer allowed to open up charitable organizations in the state of New York?
Exactly.
Because the Trump organization and the Trump family were found to be crooks in this regard.
Yeah. It's a cover. This is exactly what I'm saying. James Watson says it's a cover for campaign donations from foreign enemies. Exactly. I mean, foreign enemies, foreign entities is probably better. I don't know that it's enemies. Maybe that's what you meant to say, entities. But anyway, the point is simply that there are all sorts of ways now. Foreign nationals can buy, here it is, from Natalie, can buy the watches as a way to fund his campaign. Exactly. So you see all of these things that we view as cheesy grifts are that, but they also exist as an instrument for Trump to become more moneyed from this process. It's wild, but it's, again, it's not completely insane. It's part of the Trump plan. It's the architecture of Donald Trump's world, where he is essentially grifting both the American taxpayer when he's president, and in this case, the election system, which wildly permits any number of ways for you to money yourself. So, anyway, that's the latest. Good luck on the watch.
The Mark Thompson Show.
All right, well, let's do it. It won in the... We were going to wave it off. We weren't going to do Friday Fabulous Florida. We were worried it seemed a little tone deaf, but look at that. 77% of the people who were polled in our live polls say they want it. So without any further delay, Tony, if you are poised and ready, Kim, if you are poised and ready, audience, if you are poised and ready, this is Friday Fabulous Florida.
It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
Again, we are thinking of you, Floridians, because we know you're dealing with a lot. So even as we do these stories, we understand that this is a sliver of some of the weirdness that comes out of the world of Florida. But we know right now you're all hip deep in some real challenging situations with Hurricane Helene. So the aftermath will be something we continue to watch. But now, with that aside, I will tell you that a Florida man has had a heart attack, not when fighting hurricane waters that continue to rise, but after getting a lap dance from his maid, everybody. That's right. Wow.
That's sexy times.
Yeah. She is a topless maid, everyone. Oh, all right. Well, I don't know. I mean, I didn't know that was a service that's available, but apparently it is.
If I was going to be a maid, that's the kind I...
Probably take her 4 or 5 minutes to get everything clean, if I may. And she was someone who showed up as scheduled and began this lap dance for this Florida dude who wanted... My computer just crashed, so now I'm unable to read the story. But this computer just crashed. Let me see if I can.
I think everything's crashing right now.
Is it?
Yeah, it started to get this kind of electronic sound. I thought it was on my end, maybe.
Let me see.
Are we looking, Chad? Are we still there?
I see.
Yeah.
Are we?
No, we're good. We're good.
I can see everything still coming through. Let's try it again.
So, Tony, if I take this down, this computer down because of this, will it affect anything or not? Not your computer. I'm talking about my computer, the laptop. It won't affect anything, right?
If you take the computer off, no.
Yeah,
it's only plugged in the board. So
yeah, let me just take it off because it's not rebooting. I need to get. I mean, this thing. I'm just getting rid of.
Well, this is your main computer that I'm saying that kind of dropped out real fast. But I think StreamYard dropped out on everything for everything looked like because I lost Kim, I lost everything.
Wow.
Mountain Bike Fan says this is karma for doing the Florida segment.
That's true. There may be some truth to that.
Amy B says Mr. Predicto was right.
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Predicto said that this segment probably wouldn't happen. All right, let me get back to it because I just powered up this computer and it should have power long enough to do this. My God, this is. I don't know how you're going to cut around this.
I mean,
we'll drop this.
Is it time to go to Kim's news? Maybe.
No. I've got it. How dare you?
Just saying.
All right, so let me bring you back to this.
Topless maid, dancing, lap dance, heart attack. That's where we were.
This Florida man almost died while getting a lap dance from his housekeeper. He did have a heart attack. She is a topless maid, everybody. And topless maids, I didn't know they were around, but they make $300 an hour cleaning homes. At least this one does. There she is on TikTok. And I guess she is talking about this. Sammy is her name, Sammi, which is kind of the topless maid kind of name. Yeah, I like it. She apparently constantly updates her experiences with this interesting life she has being a topless maid. And one of her favorite clients is this Florida guy who is in his 70s, and he pays her to not only clean the house, but he gets lap dances as well.
Bonus.
Yeah. Well, the thing about lap dances apparently is that they can be so exciting.
Yeah.
That they can produce heart palpitations, and before you know it, you've had a heart attack. And that is sort of what happened here. He ends up almost dying as a result of getting this lap dance from his topless maid. Ricky says he'd do the cleaning and work topless for $150. Wow, well, that's something to consider. The Croc Nest Monster, Florida Gator. The Florida Gator hunters search for a West Michigan alligator. This is Ottawa County, Michigan. And Dan Rooks said that residents should enjoy Labor Day weekend on and in the water. He catches nuisance alligators in Florida and returned to the lake where parents of Rooks still live. He was there to investigate and potentially capture what was reported to be a Florida alligator. Multiple reported sightings on this Ottawa County lake. Now, he spent 3 nights on the water, shining a light for the distinctive reddish alligator eyes, you see, Kim. They're peering over the water.
How do they know it's a Florida alligator? That's what I want to know.
Well, this is, again, in the world of alligator hunting.
Okay.
I guess is something that they're aware of. But he says there is no gator in the lake, that he has done 3 nights of surveilling the lake. And the 100-acre lake is alligator-free, he says. He says if it was there, it was gone when he did his check. And the speculation early on was that a small alligator was kept as a pet and released once it outgrew its home, you see. And then that's how it ends up in the lake.
That's pure speculation.
And that indeed is what residents swear they saw, a 4 to 6 foot long alligator. But this alligator hunter, who came all the way from Florida to make certain that his parents and other residents around the lake were safe, he says that they are indeed safe and there is no alligator there. A man is killed in a shooting after a dispute over, I know you're thinking drugs. Maybe you're thinking a woman.
Yeah.
No. It is over a jukebox song.
What?
Yeah.
People are passionate about their music. I get it. Yeah.
Apparently, there was a dispute over a jukebox song. It was at a Mexican restaurant in Fort Lauderdale.
What
The
song?
argument reportedly around 1:30 in the morning, and those arguments at around 1:30 can oftentimes be a bit more heated than the ones over at 10:30 in the evening. And at this restaurant, the Antojitos Mexicanos restaurant near Davis Boulevard, well, one man insulted another over his song choice on the music machine. One witness said, quote, I heard that there were two guys and they got into an argument because one of them played a song on the jukebox and the other guy kind of was pissed off. The guy that got insulted pulled his weapon and started shooting the other guy. The altercation escalated quickly, apparently. The man who insulted the song drew his weapon first, but the other man near the jukebox fired back. One of them played a song, said a witness, on the Rockola machine. And the other guy was angry and said, you're not a real Mexican if you play that effing music, you know?
Wow.
And the other guy was chasing him. The whole thing turned into an absolute bizarro gunfight. And one man is dead, Kim.
Over music.
Over music. It's crazy. People are wound tight.
Is there a song that you would, I don't know, not shoot someone over, but would make you feel violent inside, or that you would pay someone not to play on a jukebox if you were at the establishment? Is there a song that gets you?
Oh, probably, but I can't think of what it would be. Why, do you have one in mind?
No, but there have been some good suggestions in the chat. Someone said it was the 1-800-CARS-FOR-KIDS jingle.
Oh, that's a good point. I haven't seen that show up in a jukebox yet.
William said that. Yeah, that's a good one. Someone asked was it a Taylor Swift song, said Calvin.
Oh, I would hope not.
Dennis said tequila. Yeah.
I mean, these, I have to say, it was an argument over the authenticity of the song if you're Mexican. That was the point. Like, if you're a Mexican, you're not a real Mexicano if you play whatever song it was. I don't know. You Light Up My Life is, that's not a bad choice for a song that you like. I don't need to hear it again.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Baby Shark. Yeah.
Baby
that'll
Shark.
do it.
Yeah.
It's My Way by Sinatra in the Philippines.
I say.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, one man is dead and the other man is in custody. So there was also this to round out Florida. A mail boat rescues a Florida man who tried to swim across a river in Florida. Oh, I see. This was a Florida man who was, he was swimming across a river, but it wasn't in Florida. It was from Canada to Detroit. There is a river from Windsor to Detroit, and if you can swim, I suppose you can swim that river and cross it. But they launched a mail boat to rescue him because Ralph C. Wilson Jr., tried to make this swim and became overcome.
Not quite like the water in Florida, is it?
No, it's cold.
Yeah.
And it was around 11 o'clock at night.
Chile.
That the deckhand on board this mail boat spotted this dude. And they got up alongside him and they lifted the man onto the deck of the mail boat. I've done this in the past, said the captain of the boat. This is the second one for me, in fact. Yes, they're all different. It's a real adrenaline rush when you go out, and it's a lot. That adrenaline kind of turns into a heavyweight because, especially as the captain, it's up to me to maneuver safely alongside and get the person out of the water. It was a 10-minute search. They spotted the guy who was paddling inside a life ring. Strong current, water temperature is about 73 degrees right now, apparently.
The Detroit River, yeah.
He made it halfway across the river, if you're curious, paddling in the life ring. Without them there, I don't know what would have happened, Kim. It's very possible he would have, not made it. He seemed disoriented and under the influence of something, said crew members. He was cold, but didn't have any physical injuries that they saw. We tried to get him to come inside the cabin and sit down, and he was just kind of kept pacing around the front deck, saying, "Is this boat U.S.? Are we going back to the U.S.?" I don't know. Again, this in coordination with Canadian authorities, they wanted to return the guy, at least the plan was, to Windsor, Ontario. He was taken to the Detroit fireboat and then transferred to an EMS unit. And that's the story of the man who tried to cross the Detroit River in just a life-saving ring. I know my favorite. We have to pick our favorites. We don't want to. It's in the bylaws of the show. I will remind you of what we've just heard. Florida guy almost dying after having a heart attack from seeing a lap dance in his home that he'd seen many times before from his favorite housekeeper, a topless maid. But apparently this one was the one that put him over the top. So he was taken to the hospital and cheated death at the last instant.
Yep.
So that's the lap dance from a housekeeper. The Croc Nest monster, the Florida gator hunters search for the West Michigan alligator from Florida. He now says that as an experienced Florida gator, he can tell that community they are safe. There is no gator in that lake. The man killed in shooting. The shooting was a dispute over the jukebox song that was played at a Fort Lauderdale restaurant at 1:30 in the morning. And finally, the mailboat rescue of a Florida man who tried to swim across the Detroit River. We don't want to pick a favorite, but we must. Kim, what is your... look, first we'll check the chat.
Yeah.
Housekeeper lap dance, 63% of the votes.
That's
wow.
high. Mm-hmm.
The only thing that really seems to be moving quickly in the live chat voting is Music Madness, which is the
that's
jukebox.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. The poll might sway my vote. You know, normally I would go Croc Nest Monster. Anything gator related, it kind of grabs me. But
sure.
Kim, how are you?
I'll say the Naked Maid. Yeah, Naked Maid.
Naked Maid.
Going
very,
with
very
the
good.
naked nudie
right.
cleaning. A little dancing, a little cleaning, a little boobs. Excellent.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot to be said for it. I didn't realize it was a service that was offered.
Now that you know.
I'm not anxious to see my maid topless, and I'm sure she's not anxious to see me topless. That's the kind of rule around here. So I will also, I got to tell you, it is almost a photo finish for me, and I know there's gunplay involved, which is always scary.
Yeah.
But I got to say, that jukebox argument over a song, you know, and it turns into a gunfight, I mean, that's just so crazy. Like, what song is authentically Mexican is the thing that sets them off.
Yeah.
That is, for me, it's running so close with the lap dance from the housekeeper. But let me see if, hang on a second. I want to see if there's anybody who... Gordon Andrews likes lap dance. If you were a gator, you'd be leaving Florida too. Lap dance guy, it was worth it, says Murphy. All right, I'll go with lap dance guy. Yeah, I'll go with lap dance guy.
You've been convinced.
Did you have a favorite, Tony?
Well, kinda. But it's this guy. But it's this instead.
It's the kayak guy. It's the croc guy.
Kayak guy. That was the croc guy. It wasn't officially in the competition.
Crocs, Florida man. There we go.
All right.
That's
Friday Fabulous Florida for today.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now here.
Thank you for being here. We are a live show. Lap Dancing Housekeeper was the name of my 80s punk band, says Tom. Very, very strong, Tom. I will tell you we're a live show from 2 to 4 o'clock every day in the East, 11 to 1 in the West. We are feeling you. People on the Eastern Seaboard, particularly the Southeast, being affected by the hurricane as we're doing this show now. We certainly hope things improve quickly. We know it's going to be some rough hours ahead as that storm system continues to move north. We appreciate you being here, though. However, and whenever you check us out, and smash the like button if you would. It's a way to
with your iron rod.
show us some love. It costs you nothing, and when you share the show, that really helps grow the show. So that is super important as well. So we continue. Yeah.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Put it together for a guy who has forgotten more about politics than most of us will ever even know. He is Michael Shure, everybody. Look at you. Nice to see you, sir.
Michael, you're muted.
He's muted. Oh,
yeah,
that's
it's
no
better.
good.
I'm sometimes better muted. I just played tennis, Mark Thompson, so I feel a little disheveled for the Mark Thompson.
Oh, you don't look disheveled. You look casual, and which is it's Friday. It's quite appropriate.
Yeah, that's true.
You bring me back to my days as a tennis player myself. Yes.
All right.
Yes. I was a serve and volleyer myself, Michael Shure, before my life and enjoyment was stolen from me by the fates because I had so many physical injuries I couldn't handle it anymore. The challenges, my legs, my knees, my shoulder, my arm, the tennis elbow. It became too much, and I had to ultimately give it up. But I like that you continue to play. It means a lot.
All right. Well, look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Michael Shure was quite a week in the world of politics.
Yeah.
I say that because Kamala Harris did a sit-down. She did also and made comments about, more than comments, she laid out these strategies for the economy moving forward, the U.S. economy. Her world of Kamala Harris website, et cetera, actually released an 80-page, I think it was, a treatise on the economy and, again, strategies for the days ahead, should she become president. Meantime, on the other side, Donald Trump is stumping very hard. He, in addition to the stumping, in addition to the general exhorting crowds to show up to vote, he was pitching merch. As you know, he just had this watch that we showcased a few minutes ago before you got here. So he's busy also telling people to vote early. Tony, do you have that? Before I let Michael speak, I want him to see this. This is Trump on the stump saying to people, hey, you got to get out there and you got to vote now, which is something very different from the message that he used to have. Although, as you'll see, he references sort of how ridiculous this system is and how easily it can be gamed. So in a sense, he's tipping his future plan. Here's just a second of it.
Early voting begins in Pennsylvania over the next 2 weeks, and we need each and every one of you to go out. Just don't take anything for granted. We got to get out and vote. You can start right away. You know that, right? Now we have this stupid stuff where you can vote 45 days early. I wonder what the hell happens during that 45. Let's move see these votes? We've got about 1 million votes in there. Let's move them. We're fixing the air conditioner in the room, right? No, it's terrible. What happened the last time was disgraceful, including right here. But we're not going to let it happen again. Too big to rig, right?
So that's his Pennsylvania, a piece of his Pennsylvania stump speech. Speak to the Trump plan, if you would, please, Michael, and just sort of the state of the race.
Well, I mean, the state of the race is that it's close. It's close in the states where it's meant to be close. But that's why we're paying attention to them. We wouldn't be paying attention to them if we didn't know they were close. So when people say, oh, my God, it's so close in Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's what makes it a swing state. That's what makes it purple. We announced that it's going to be close. So to see it close is not surprising. It surprises a lot of people who don't like Donald Trump that Donald Trump could be doing so well that the race is, evenly split. You asked me to speak to what his plan is. I don't know what his plan is. I mean, I've been critical of his campaign because I don't really get what his campaign is doing. If I were Donald Trump, I would not be running the campaign that he's running because he's going after and he's trying to energize the people who already like him. Talking about eating cats and dogs is not going to win over new voters, and he has to do that. He has to win over voters that were lost to the Democrats in 22 and in 20. I mean, intellectually, he knows that he lost that race, even if he's not going to say it. And so he knows that more people came out to vote for Democrats Democrats. So he needs to bring Republicans who left back. He needs to bring independents and also Republican voters who stayed home, and women. He's sowing seeds of doubt by telling people to vote early. And that's his MO here. I just find it all very curious.
Well, he's sowing seeds of doubt by telling people that this is, we want you to vote, but this is a ridiculous system, so easy to cheat. So he's doing this. Right?
Exactly. I mean, listening to what he just said, who's going to vote early, right? He said, we got to get out there. It's so stupid that we can vote 45 days early, but you can vote now. Oh, and those votes get moved. What a silly, stupid system we have here. So is he telling people to vote early? Well, at the beginning, it sounded that way. And then he goes down a road where it seems like, well, don't vote early. And voting early is a mistake because they move it when they need to fix the air conditioning. But we all know it's not. They don't move it to Lebanon. They move it over to fix the air conditioning, and they don't do that.
Yeah. A-Golf is saying he tries to eliminate trust in the vote in every state he loses. I mean, he certainly is trying to undermine any kind of trust in the vote. Yeah.
For sure he is. He doesn't even need to do that because the people that I speak to and the people that he speaks to, they already don't have faith in the system because he has brainwashed them into thinking that everything is a mess and that last time it was a bad result, an off result.
The support that he's getting from his party is more than just the election deniers. I was talking about Mike Johnson as an election denier who's setting up, when asked point blank whether he would certify the election should Trump lose this time, he said, well, we have to see whether it's a fair election. It's the default position essentially that they take. But beyond that, the rhetoric about the Haitian community, the immigrant community, the insanely pointed, bigoted, prejudiced rhetoric. It's so gross. And yet members of his party are not only signing on for the election denying thing, they're signing on for that too.
Yeah, I mean, I was it was the first time since the debate. I was in the field last week. I was at a Trump rally in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I was asking people about that. And I asked them, even though it's been debunked, and you can link this video or find it or whatever, but even though it's been debunked, do you still think he should be talking about it? And some people say it hasn't been debunked. I saw someone eating a cat, or they're picking up geese at the local pond. When asked how that is different than hunting, they say it's hunting is humane and this is inhumane. It's obviously about race. They don't want to say it is. But when I ask people, let's just start from the premise that it is not true. The town has said it's not true. The chief of police, and these people are police-loving people until you tell them something that the police said that they don't like. They all say, well, we should still talk about it. Even though it's fiction, we should still talk about it. So these are the devotees. These are the people that he doesn't have to worry about. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. He, by doing this, is getting the applause that he loves. He's getting the full houses that he loves. I don't know that he's going to be getting the votes that he needs because he's just appealing to the people who have already decided that they're Donald Trump supporters.
Let me just ask you about that, and then I want to ask you about a huge change in his ground game and who's running it. But I want to first just follow up on that. Wasn't it the case, Michael Shure, that once before that motivated base showed up in big enough numbers to beat Hillary Clinton? I mean, can I make an argument looking back to 2016, or was he still the new enough candidate and she had enough problems that that was a unique case?
I mean, both are right? I mean, he was able to energize a segment of our population with promises that he was going to, quote, drain the swamp, be an outsider, be a celebrity, say things that were verboten before to say politically in the public sphere. Combined in that stew is a 2-decade, discomfort, somewhere between discomfort and hatred of Hillary Clinton from both Republicans and some Democrats. So it was a perfect, event for him to be able to win that election. But he lost the next time. And yeah, he got more votes than he did the first time because more people were involved. It was easier to vote during a pandemic. There wasn't much else to do. People were glued to this stuff, but more people voted for Joe Biden that year. And then in 2022, Republicans didn't do well. And since then, the Dobbs decision overturned Roe v. Wade. So there's another component to this. So it's not an easy path. I mean, sometimes you say, all right, I've got this money. I've got enough money to go on vacation. Now I got to go earn a little bit of money to be able to pay for dinner while I'm away. And I don't think he's paying for dinner right now. And I think that's the big problem for Trump. Look, I've been proven wrong about Donald Trump before. Many of us have. But this is purely mathematical and purely, getting a feel for if I were running his campaign, that's not how I would do it.
I want to talk about the ground game because apparently it's something that worries a lot of Republicans, and this is now a worry that they are vocalizing. The ground game is in large measure being handled now, and this is, again, sort of wild, but by Elon Musk and Elon Musk's people. Right. Before you discuss the problems with that or the virtues of that, explain to us what a ground game is again, please.
I mean, a ground game is really election day. It's all about election day. It's everything you do to get out your vote, to get your surrogates out there beforehand, to make sure that your souls to the polls. If you're trying to get churches to get people to the ballot boxes, unions do a ground game, but that ground game has to come from not just somebody sitting around the union hall. It comes from somebody in the campaign saying, hey, we're going to do this event. It's going to be a voter registration drive, and then we're going to be driving voters to the polls. We've got buses rented. We've got signs on the outside, and we also have a way of getting out part of our message until election day. We have ways of doing that beforehand. That's a ground game too. So if you're in a place, let's say it's a state like, let's say it's a union state. We'll go back to unions like Michigan. Well, Michigan's supposed to be close, right? It's a purple state at the moment. It's a blue state in their state house and in their Senate and their congressional delegation, but it's a close race there. So what do you do? Like with unions, you do events. You make sure that the campaign has a conduit to your union voters and your union halls and your local presidents and all of that. And so it gets built up by political operatives, people who've worked races that are all the way down to aldermen in the city of Detroit, all the way up to the United States Senate. So that's what a ground game is, basically. And it's not usually handled by somebody who is not a political operative. It's the people who know the ground, basically, the field, more than anybody else.
It's usually handled in-house, and it's not handled, you don't farm out your ground game.
This is what politics is, small p politics, right? I mean, this is the politicking. This is, so we're going to be going from Ann Arbor to Traverse City to Grand Rapids, and I know a guy who organized for, this congressman in Grand Rapids and this unsuccessful candidate, but he's got a big list and he knows how to get the vote out. All of that stuff, letting people know that it's going to be early when early voting starts, and all of that, making sure that people who have problems with their registration, say, I registered, but I never got my ballot in the mail, looking after that stuff. It's constituent services. And it's a major part of politics that you don't see when you just show up and vote, which is what most people do. No discredit to them, but there are people that are activists and operatives who do that every day.
Trump's team apparently deciding to trust outside groups like Musk's America PAC and Turning Point Action, run by, again, Charlie Kirk, who is, super right-wing influencer.
Well, I mean, you said a word there, Mark, influencer. That's something that people don't know. You don't need a ground game. If you own Twitter and you have Turning Points USA and you're able to reach people very quickly, that's one thing, and that's an important thing. But that's more toward the idea of advertising with a little bit of organizing, right? But a ground game, a field director. So you'll have a state with field directors in every county, even depending on how big the state is. And those field directors will be making sure that everything is mobilized. That's sort of the micro, right? Elon Musk may be good at the macro. Charlie Kirk is certainly good at the macro. But election day is about micro. And I don't know if that will work.
Just to put a fine point on it. Trump's team claims to be operating a kind of volunteer army of canvassers. They call it Trump 47 captains. These so-called captains get free Trump paraphernalia for recruiting voters. The Trump campaign says that they have as many as 27,000 of those volunteers. So at least they're talking about this aggressive ground game that is sort of conscripting all of these various people. It may be, but
it's certainly important. And they're not going door to doors. I mean, you get a list when you go out there, and they rate voters 1 to 5 as to how often they vote. A 5 voter that votes, registered Republican 5 voter that's a door you think that you want to knock on, but that person's going to vote no matter what. You want to go to the person who's voted, and they track this stuff, and maybe 2 out of the last 4 elections, 2 out of the last 5 elections, and you go to that door with these people. You knock on the door, say, what do you need? Is everything in order? Can you vote? Are you going to be with us? Are you going to be with Trump Vance this election? We're going to need you. We're going to need this. And that's what that operation is. The fact that he has that and he thinks is so novel is a little bit naive, because Democrats have that too, and Republicans who ran before him have it as well. So this is something that happens in politics all the time, that Musk is running it and Charlie Kirk is running it. That's the kind of thing that impresses Donald Trump, but I don't think it should scare Democrats at all, maybe scare Republicans, because if he's sort of siphoning that off to other people and doesn't have the real grassroots that you need to win a presidential election, and I'm not saying that's the case, but if that's what they're questioning, then that's the smoke I'd be worried about.
Well, the other thing, just on that, and this is not nothing. I mean, the down ballot races care a lot about this too, and it seems as though Trump's emphasis is top of ticket. He doesn't have a lot of feeling for those who are down ballot.
No, not at all. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, the people who would be organizing are generally organizing for the ticket, for the slate, right? They'll be dropping flyers off with every Republican's name on it, and this is who you should vote for. And that I don't think is a concern to Donald Trump. He wants one thing, and he wants to be a winner, and instead of a loser like he was last time. In order to do that, he's got to do more, in my estimation, than have Elon Musk run his ground game.
To North Carolina, Michael Shure, 9 in 10 likely voters say their minds are made up. Only 10% say they might change their minds. Those are the 10% that we see in every CNN focus group.
Yeah, and that's not surprising. We're just over a month out of Election Day, and most people know who they're voting for. And this is exactly what we talk about when we talk about what this race is about. And this is exactly why I was saying that if I were, the former president, I would be running a different race, and I would be shooting for those 10%, not to get your 45% out, right? I mean, I would be trying to get the people that you need to win over, or especially the people you need to win back, who you had in 2016 or you may have lost in 2020.
Well, the Bloomberg News Morning Consult poll, again, has essentially dead heat stuff, but it also has things that I think can be instructive. Again, we can sort of say, well, it's the same old thing, but I still look at it, as you say, as we close in on D-Day. They found that the most important issue for voters in North Carolina was the economy, 37%. That was followed by protecting democracy at 27%. And 12% said that abortion or immigration was the most pressing issue. They had more trust in Trump on the economy at 49%, but Harris isn't far behind, 41%. And also on immigration, 49 to 38%. But voters trusted Harris more on abortion, with her getting 49% to Trump's 38%. That's no surprise. And again, same poll found Harris with a 2-point lead in North Carolina, 50% to 48%. Of course, that's within the margin of error. So remind us why North Carolina is even a state we spend time on now.
Well, because it's so close. I mean, that's the obvious answer. The other part of that answer is you can look into the fact that maybe there's confidence in other states, or a lack of confidence in other states, and they see North Carolina as an opportunity. Trump is spending time there because he and the Republicans are afraid that they're losing hold of that, and this 2-point lead would indicate that they're probably right about being right to be concerned. And it's a state that is one of those states that is ordinarily thought of as out of reach for Democrats, but man, so close. And this time I think it feels the same way, but maybe just a little closer than it seemed in the past because of the negatives that Trump has. Also, the economy and protecting democracy, saving democracy, it's very, very easy for politicians to articulate the economy and talk to voters about that. Democracy and protecting democracy, saving democracy is it's a much more difficult thing to define, to dumb down, to get people to want to vote for. I mean, people vote for what it's like at home, right? And if a loaf of bread costs a little bit more, or if my daughter is not going to be able to get the medical treatment she needs, and those are things that affect us on a daily basis. Democracy, sure, but it's a big picture issue. Democrats want to chip away at those economy numbers, and they want, I think with Harris putting this out, I think it's very important that, this economic plan out, as numbers are getting better and interest rates are going down, and the Commerce Department is saying, things are not as bad as we had previously thought. These are good things for the vice president. But at the same time, a lot of people's minds are made up that, okay, this is what the price of gas is, and it wasn't this way, 4 years ago. Well, damn it, I'm not going to vote for the new person.
No Contendo is saying to you, Michael Shure, is La Civita Wilds. These are the people who are running the campaign, essentially, that Trump is pursuing against Harris. Are they insulted that they are being undermined by outsourcing? Does this cause more friction within the top brass? Any heads to roll?
I mean, it could be. I don't see, with this little time left in the race, when you do a shakeup in a campaign, generally speaking, it shows a lack of confidence. It shows that things aren't going right. It shows that we thought we were going to win and now we're losing. So we need to, think of firing a coach in I'll go to hockey. If your team is not doing well and you fire the head coach, that's not because things are going really well, right? And so the same thing in politics, it indicates that something's wrong, and you don't want to betray that this close to the election. I think what La Civita and Wilder do, I think that's more about message. That's more about planning. That's more about where the candidate's going to be, who the surrogates are, and where they're going to be. Again, the Trump campaign is atypical. I'm talking about how typical campaigns work, and the Trump people operate in very different ways. Obviously, we haven't seen this sort of stuff outsourced before, but I wouldn't say the outsourcing, if it's causing friction, I don't think it's going to change. Personally, I don't think it's going to change between now and Election Day. It'll be, in the books and articles that are written in a post-mortem way should Trump not win.
Speaking of La Civita, let's show Michael Shure the new Kamala spots. I'm just curious as to your impressions on these. Go ahead. Either one that you have loaded would be fine. Thanks so much, Tony.
And he's been an unbelievable Lieutenant Governor, Mark Robinson.
For me, there's no compromise on abortion.
I think you're better than Martin Luther King.
We could pass a bill saying you can't have an abortion in North Carolina for any reason.
Abortion in this country is about killing a child because you aren't responsible enough to keep your skirt down.
I've been with him a lot. I've gotten to know him, and he's outstanding.
Donald Trump and Mark Robinson. They're both wrong for North Carolina.
I'm Kamala.
So there we go. We talk about North Carolina. We talk about how close it is, and there's the spot. And Robinson, who we've checked off on in a conversation with you once before, now at best you'd call him embattled and troubled, and at worst you'd call him toast. Give me your sense of that spot.
I would go right to toast. I think, first of all, before we knew this stuff, he was down by about 5 or 6 points in reliable statewide polling in North Carolina. That spot is exactly what you do when something like this happens, and that's responsive advertising, and it's done really well. You want to associate, when you're given a gift like the Democrats were given, with not just what happened to Robinson or what was revealed by the K file at CNN, but it's more about what the gift being that Donald Trump has said so many nice things about this and has about this guy and has associated himself with him. In that rally, I asked several of the people, and there are clips of this too, what they think of Mark Robinson. If it's true, will you still vote for him? And they say, yes, if it's true, we'll still vote for him. On balance, there were a few people who said to me, no, if it's proven true, and they don't believe that it is, if it's proven true, they couldn't vote for him. This is about, you were asking earlier, Mark, it's like, how do Republicans vote for Donald Trump, who are mainstream Republicans? Well, it's about policy too. For some people, even smart people, they say, hey, listen, I'm a small business owner. I don't want minimum wage to go up because it'll really hurt my bottom line. I'm not passing judgment on this. This is just what people say. And they say, and I don't like Donald Trump, but I really feel like a Republican in charge is going to keep my taxes down. And that's my most important issue. So people are going to still vote for him. The Mark Robinson thing is always curious to me, because why would you want somebody with such a checkered past and somebody who is, all about controversy and saying things that are provocative and not really, nobody knows what a lieutenant governor does, but not really proffering ideas about how to make North Carolina better. I don't see him winning. I didn't see it even before this, but this is a gift for the Harris people there, especially in a state like we were talking about, North Carolina, where, it's there for the taking possibly, and that's exciting for the Democrats.
He's so extreme. I mean, he is the extreme end of the MAGA extreme spectrum. So, Michael, go ahead.
Mark, I'm sorry. One thing I should say is that before all of this happened, this is why we're talking about North Carolina. This is part of the answer, because the Democrats saw, hey, there's this really extreme sort of political loon at the top of the ticket for governor there in North Carolina, and he's turning a lot of people off. We can capitalize on this, and I think that the Democrats have realized that, and that's part of the answer that I didn't give before, is that they saw an opportunity that didn't exist, and a lot of that is because of Mark Robinson, and that was pre-Black Nazi stuff.
I now want to get to the last spot, please, Tony. Play the other spot for Michael Shure, please.
Bob and I both voted for Donald Trump.
I voted for him twice. I won't vote for him again. January 6th was a wake-up call for me.
Donald Trump divides people. We've already seen what he has to bring.
He didn't do anything to help us. Kamala Harris, she cares about the American people. I think she's got the wherewithal to make a difference. I've never voted for a Democrat.
Yes, we're both lifelong Republicans.
The choice is very simple.
I'm voting for Kamala.
I am voting for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I love that spot. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, it's a great spot. I mean, there's I think when you're a reporter, you're skeptical from the get-go. Like, what did they not know that they voted for him a second time? I understand voting for him the first time. I don't understand voting for him the second time. That being said, there could be a reason. They may have just not liked Vice President Biden, who was vice president at the time, or had been vice president. I don't know. But the point is, these ads are effective. Republicans, people say, well, why does it matter that, former Senator Nancy Kassebaum of Kansas came out and supported Kamala Harris? You see, Adam Kinzinger and the Cheneys, and why does that matter? It doesn't really matter. There's nobody sitting on their couch saying, as soon as Dick Cheney says he's voting for Harris, then I'm good. What it does in a sort of bigger way is it makes it feel okay. Right? I mean,
thank you.
And that is the sort of intangible, important part. When African Americans, when Black Americans were first getting onto ballots, right, and they needed white people in their states to vote for them. If you knew your neighbor was voting for Harvey Gantt, let's say, who was running against Jesse Holmes frequently, and will stay in North Carolina, white Democrats did not have a long history. White North Carolinians did not have a long history of voting for Black people in that state. But as soon as your neighbor says, I don't like Jesse Helms, I'm going to vote for Harvey Gantt, you're like, oh, really? Okay. And then you're thinking about that. And so it gives you an ability that you didn't have, that ability isn't really the right word, but it makes it okay, right? It gives you a pass to do that, because it's really in your heart. You want to vote for Harvey Gantt, but you really want to hear somebody else say it's okay to do it. That's what these ads are about. And I think they're super effective.
I agree. I mean, that's one of the reasons I love that spot. It is giving you permission to vote for Kamala Harris.
That's the word, permission.
And I just love those spots. I believe that is how you get independent voters who are, quote, independent, over to your side. And you can make even those little improvements around the margin could swing the election. On your way out, give me, sorry, go ahead. What was that?
This is really tight. So, I mean, those little improvements, if this sways, 180 votes in one county, wow.
Exactly.
There's a commercial that just came out like a week or so ago with a guy, I forget his name. He's like a traditionally male, like Western actor.
Oh yeah, it's Sam Elliott.
Thank you. And he says, if this is a woman thing, get over it.
Yeah.
Vote for, I'm a real man voting for a woman. I thought that was pretty effective.
Absolutely.
As far as appealing to like this, man who maybe was thinking about, God, can I really vote for a woman for president? Yes, you can.
You can. It's the same idea, Kim. It's exactly what we're talking about. And he's the beef, it's what's for dinner guy, right? I mean, right. So he is a passive, he gives permission to the non-classical voter who would vote for an African-American woman. I mean, that's it's simple. It's hard to even say it because it sounds so crass, but it's true. And you've got to sort of be truthful about it. There are a lot of men who have a harder time voting for women, and you can complain about that, and you can say that's wrong, and you can get angry about it. But you have 40 days till the election, and you have to figure a way out to address it. And I think these ads do that.
I'm way over time, but I will not stop this conversation without touching on something that I talk about all the time. You're not here when I talk about it, but I've been saying it for years. The Secret Service has been dining out on a reputation of protecting high-profile people. Our vision of these heroic people who run alongside the various limousines and vehicles that carry very important people has burnished this notion that they're all heroes. The reality of that agency is that I think it needs a bottom-up cleaning. I think it needs a reconstitution to bring it back to that image that we all have. If you Google Secret Service and scandal, you'll see they've run everything from brothels to drug dens. And now in this most recent incident, a Secret Service agent in Vice President Kamala Harris's security detail, now placed on administrative leave following allegations of groping a Harris staffer in Wisconsin. I wonder if you can give me a moment on the Secret Service, Michael Shure. You might disagree with me, but I feel as though that agency has issues.
I mean, look, the problem with the Secret Service or any service like this, you can look at the IDF. They have one bad day, and it's a disaster, and it's a disaster that means top to bottom. We had somebody try and get a bomb in their shoe onto an airplane, and we all have to take our shoes off. And so there are... we react and perhaps overreact, but the Secret Service has had a bad year, and they've had a bad era, I would say, right now. Not that anybody has, none of their protectees have been killed. There were people killed in Pennsylvania because of that shooter there. But I think that you're right. And I think that what happens with places like the Secret Service is they promote their own into positions of leadership. And, I don't think outsourcing your ground game in a campaign is a great idea, but I think outsourcing leadership to something like the Secret Service wouldn't be the worst idea. You are going to end up with somebody who's been in law enforcement because that is the right person to lead that department. But I also think when they were taken away from the Department of Treasury and put into Homeland Security, there were lots of cuts to the staff that they had, operations, bureaucrats, and management there, as well as agents in the field. And so I think that is that's been a problem for them that came out after with the Patriot Act and the formation of the Department of Homeland Security. The Secret Service had been charged with counterfeiting, right? They've been charged with other things, and the protective division right now is in a bit of trouble. And these sorts of things usually lead to top down. And I think that the Congress, when they get back in January and they know who's in the Congress, is probably going to deal with it pretty quickly.
Quick thoughts on the mayor of New York, and also whether the door's now open, as I'm reading, for Cuomo to charge back in, somehow reconstitute his image.
I do hug and kiss people casually.
Yeah, that will come back. But go ahead, Michael.
I don't know what's going to happen and who takes it. The first thing that is amazing to me, and as someone who follows politics and loves it and grew up in New York City, is that if the mayor is removed or resigns, the consumer advocate takes over. not the city council president, not a deputy mayor, the consumer advocate, which is just astonishing to me. I think that, we probably talked about it here, that the 5 stages of scandal, right? We're in the defend it now, be adamant about it. And I think stage 2 is everybody starts jumping ship. And usually stage 3 is I can no longer lead and I'm going to step aside and I'm going to be angry and I'm going to fight these charges. We're probably in stage 2, probably between stage 1 and 2 right now. I don't see how Adams can stay in that office under this kind of an indictment. I also think that with an election coming somewhat soon in New York and some big personalities in New York, you mentioned Cuomo, that it's going to be hard for him to hang on to that office anyway. So people will jump from that. And as soon as he has less of a support staff, it's going to be adios, Eric.
Yeah. Thanks for the drill down on so much in the way of politics. Give me 30 seconds on the Niners.
They're hurt. Kittle's coming back this weekend. They say McCaffrey was in Germany getting his stuff looked at. They lost to the Rams in a way that they shouldn't have, and they overcoach. This staff overcoaches sometimes. But anyway, go Niners. We'll win the Super Bowl. Everything will be fine.
Okay. Find Michael Shure across the web and here on Fridays. Wow, love your stuff.
Yeah,
thanks, Michael.
Go to YouTube, TYT on YouTube, and skip all the stuff with Jank in it. You can find some of my videos in the field under videos there. If my mom can find them, you can too. So check those out. They're fun. I mean, some of them are kind of
fun. No, I love that stuff that you do, and you drag your ass all over this country to these various rallies to talk to these people. So we should check them out. Go tyt.com or TYT on YouTube. Just Google it or
Google it.
You can find it, and then Michael is there talking to every manner of a Trump supporter and beyond. Thank you, Michael Shure. See you. What am I doing? Oh, I am, no, I'm not doing that. I wanted to...
You have to get to Michael Snyder.
The Mark Thompson Show.
I'm trying to figure out what the hell I've got time for. I don't really have time for much of anything.
No, because Michael Snyder wasn't here last week. He's got a lot of movies to talk about.
Oh, he does, and we love our Michael Snyder Culture Blaster. Okay, so without any further delay, although I love delaying, especially when Michael Snyder is waiting, because he is he's someone who's pointed out that sometimes we delay, and it feels as though we're delaying for no reason but to delay, which is exactly why we are delaying.
This is a classic Mark Thompson time waster.
Exactly. So Snyder feels that passionately. Let me ask Mr. Predicto whether
oh, no.
Michael Snyder will arrive angry. Let's see. Will Michael Snyder arrive angry, Mr. Predicto?
Definitely, yes.
Oh, he is going to be angry, says Mr. Predicto. Well, then let's not tarry. Let's not wait. Fridays, we like to review the world of movies, world of streaming, television. We do it with a man who has written about movies, television, music for years. He's a sophisticate, but he's also a comic book dude. He's one of a kind.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Well, he's not. I don't think he's a weed smoker. I think he's a. I think he's a drinker. If you're looking for ways to, I don't know what he is. He defines it beyond definition. He comes and goes on a rainbow. He is Michael Snyder. I know that the Culture Blaster. You don't get. I don't think you do imbibe with the weed. I don't think you go for that.
Well,
am I right?
Mark, I will occasionally eat one of those cute little gummies before bedtime, or maybe just bite the head off one.
Okay.
And as far as alcohol, maybe a couple of craft beers a week, but it's got to be, high-end stuff. Why even bother? I was just waiting. You were going on and on with Michael. I was just waiting for you to ask Michael Shure to review a few movies. I mean, as long as he was in the house.
I see. You feel that we spent too much time with Michael Shure. I get what you're saying.
No, not at all. And I love this take on the Niners, which I agree with. I do want to point out before we get to business.
Wait in that green room. Go ahead, pal. Go ahead. What's that?
Yeah, and it's making me green just sitting here and waiting, the turning of the green. But I do want to say last week something very odd happened. I missed my first segment on the Mark Thompson Show, ever in the history of our relationship. I had such bad laryngitis. I actually sounded like RFK Jr. and I didn't want to confuse anybody, so I thought I'd be best served by waiting. Yeah, it was too much. Anyway,
well,
let's get down to business.
Back. I've already gotten my first Michael Snyder woohoo, so go for it.
Well, I appreciate that. Oh, and I do want to point out one thing about last week and missing the segment. When you announced that, a number of our wonderful audience members weighed in, wishing me well, hoping I got better. And yes, I think your hopes and prayers helped out because I am fully bounced back and ready to roll.
Wow. Shout out for the thoughts and prayers. I never would have thought that you'd think that was the thing that brought you back, but you feel that you might have been swept under had it not been for the hopes and prayers to buoy you. That's very, very interesting.
I would have gotten better, but I love the love, Mark. Come on. We can't say no to love.
Okay.
But
I've never seen anything like it.
Okay.
We can say no to certain films, and I think I may, but I think we got to proceed.
This is a classic Michael Snyder time waster, says Trevor.
Right.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt, but that was too delicious too. Yeah.
Not helped along by Mark Thompson, but let's get down to business, shall we? Everything but the kitchen sink seems to be floating around in latest and feature film from Francis Ford Coppola, and that would be Megalopolis. That's right. It's Megalopolis, and it is an extravaganza that echoes Ayn Rand's Atlas in a retro-futuristic New York City, here reimagined by Coppola as New Rome, where architect Caesar Catalina, played by Adam Driver, wants to create his utopian living space of tomorrow, regardless of the cost in money or, I'm assuming lives, while he is in conflict with the city government and caught in a supposedly romantic triangle with the...
Wow, we lost him. Lost Michael Snyder. Don't know what happened.
Wow Platinum, the money bunny on this particular.
Michael, you dropped. Sorry, you dropped out. It seems like your connection is a little weak this time for this go round. But I wanted to ask you. You just identified another character. You talked about Adam Driver, who wants to reshape the city into this utopian kind of fantasy, and then you mentioned another character, but you dropped out. So please, somebody wow or something.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Wow Platinum is the name of the character, and she's a TV Business Channel reporter, kind of like Maria Bartiromo, and they refer to her as the Money Bunny as opposed to the Money Honey. This is an ambitious, obvious, sometimes corny, often ponderous, infuriating, beautiful to look at, derivative, and yet buoyed by the over-the-top two on screen.
Stop for a second, if you would, Michael. I don't know if other people are you having trouble with this? It's coming. Tony, I need you on this. What's going on?
It's a bit of a mess. It's his connection. I think his cell phone is just kind of maybe not move your head.
Connection here, Mark.
Are you on a Wi-Fi connection? Michael,
I am on a 5G connection. 5G
connection. It's going in and out. We're missing like whole chunks of what you're saying.
Yeah, it's getting very robot-y.
And I hate to miss ding words. Wow. Ponderous and derivative are both ding words, as Tom has noted.
Seems what okay would you suggest?
Now. What would you suggest he do, Tony? Please.
It might be just one of the things. Just move the phone less. Maybe it could be.
Can you hear me now, as the people say?
Yeah, I can hear you. You sound good. I'd say just make sure the phone is.
I don't see Tony responding either. What's up?
Yeah, Tony's saying
you can't hear me at all?
Let's keep going, and if it gets to be too tough, we'll have you reboot or whatever you do. Okay, go for it. So you're
fine.
saying it's it sounds like you're saying it's a bit overblown. You said it's ponderous at times and derivative.
Yeah, but it's lovely. It's gorgeous, and you do have Plaza and Shia LaBeouf, who.
No, we just lose him completely. I don't know what to do with this. I just lost him completely.
Yeah, this might be one of
so
those
normally
things.
Michael Snyder is in studio with me. so we never have to deal with this. But he is on the road, and so unable to, be in studio, and he's on his phone, and apparently,
it's just
5G
I think
is
he's
not
5G, but
it.
it's just kind of blip, blip, blip to one bar and come back.
Yeah.
He's back. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah,
I can't even put him on right now. So,
but that's just to give you a sense. That's what we're up
sorry,
against. Thanks for your
I'll
patience,
throw 'em
everyone.
up
We
if you
love our Michael Snyder. We love our Culture Blaster segment, and we're trying to get him back, but even
I do have an entertainment-related story while we wait for him to reconnect.
Yes, please, Kim.
And that is the passing of this beloved woman.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
Kim, how are you?
She's so incredible. And so it's so hard to lose someone like Maggie Smith, Dame Maggie Smith. She's one of the best-known actresses in Britain, and I would say around the world as well. Maybe you know her from Harry Potter. Maybe you know her from Downton Abbey in her older, age was what she's done most recently. But she's been in movies, in plays. She was in Othello on stage and screen. So she was 89 years old. It's funny. I was watching a talk show with her, and the host asked if she had ever watched Downton Abbey, and she said no, I never watched it.
Isn't that wild? She was given the best lines in Downton Abbey.
Oh, she was so funny.
But I'm so glad that Tony is showing younger shots of her as well, as you just referenced, because she, again, is considered one of the finest stage and screen actors of her generation. Yeah. And as you look back at these pictures,
Clash of the Titans. Oh, I love that movie.
I mean, she's won Oscars. I mean, she starred in the prime of Miss Jean Brodie in 1969 about a teacher at a girls' school in the 30s who had these progressive social views. And she had a love life. And again, that performance got her an Academy Award. That's why I mention it. She won a second Academy Award for supporting actress for California Suite. That was in 1978.
I never saw that movie. Have you seen it?
I did see it. Yeah, I don't remember much of it. In fact, I don't remember her in it at all. But it was a Neil Simon stage comedy, and her character is attending the Oscars with her bisexual husband, Michael Caine, and anyway, she got that was a supporting actress role, and she got an Oscar for that as well. She's won BAFTAs, 2 Golden Globes. She's remarkable. And again, in Downton Abbey, she was given all of these funny lines. It's funny that she never watched the show.
Yeah.
But,
I think we have Michael back. I'll put him on, okay?
Okay.
All right. Michael, apparently just a lot of problems today with the signal, but let's give it another run. So we're just talking about Maggie Smith and the fact that she passes away at age 89. You were talking about Megalopolis. Is that what it's called? Metropolis or Megalopolis? What is it?
Yeah, that's the title. Can you hear me, as they say?
I don't hear him well.
Hear me, Mark?
Know. Yeah, I hear you a little bit. Try it, but I think we're on thin ice, pal. Sorry.
Well, this is unfortunate, but there you go. I have a strong signal. I don't know what it is.
I don't know either. Tony, I leave it to you. I just can't.
I don't know. It's not being nice today. It's all robot. It's just drop out and everything else. I'm not even.
StreamYard has failed us. I don't know.
Yeah,
StreamYard is a bit of. Are you on a iPhone or a Android?
Can you get to a landline? If you can get to a landline, I know we're kind of up against the top of the show, but
we lost him again.
Yeah, we're losing him. I just don't think it's.
I don't think today's the day. Sorry.
Yeah. Snyder must be. Can he come in a different day? I mean, yeah, maybe Monday we can have him. Snyder must be calling in through his Truth Social account, says B.A. Ware. He has a big echo. It has to do with the phone reception, says Karen.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's just, even though
he
he's
sounds
connected,
like my brother driving to his river house, says Josh. We were all thinking that he sounded like Josh's brother, weren't you? Well, I was thinking, oh my God, this is it's a double for Josh's brother driving to the river house. So Tom is saying that whatever he said, Balawargawawa is a ding word. So he will ding the...
He's back. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of fun, just seeing whether or not you can get on the air. This is how we can kill a few. And you go ahead. What do you? Go ahead, Michael. No, I don't hear him at all now. Okay.
It's all a mess.
Thank you,
I'm
Michael.
sorry,
We'll
Michael.
work out a
I
time.
think everything's a mess.
Maybe Monday. Maybe Monday we'll, if he's available, try to work out a supplemental appearance. That's the only thing I can think of, right, Kim? I mean, I think that's the only thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got so many great movies to talk about. I hate to do it. The only other thing I could think about also is maybe we can try to do a recording and then put it out so people can catch it over the weekend if they wanted to see the movies for the weekend.
I love that idea. If Michael can get to a Wi-Fi location, I'll do that.
Can you hear me now, as the people say?
Yeah, I hear.
Right now
you.
it works.
Okay. Do you want to try it? You want to continue?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not averse to trying it. It's bizarre. I don't think StreamYards has ever behaved like this since we started using it. At least not for me.
Now you sound good. But we'll have to hurry along. And if this drops out again, if it drops out again, I'll get with you and we'll do something over the weekend and we'll post it as a separate video. But go ahead. So Megalopolis,
that sounds fine. Yeah, I say that as I was saying earlier, that it is very ambitious, but it is ponderous and it's gorgeous on the screen. And he's a masterful filmmaker, so you're going to get some interesting things going on. And get cast led by Adam Driver, is buoyed by Aubrey Plaza, who is totally over the top as Wow. I can't believe that's the name they used.
I can't. I'm sorry, pal. I'm so sorry. If you can hear me, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You'll hear it later, and you'll go, oh,
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
let's coordinate, and we'll do it. We'll drop a separate segment with the Culture Blaster for everyone who looks forward to Michael. I'm so sorry. I do too, but that is just unworkable. And at some point, you got to say, "Hey, man, yeah, it's
the way it goes sometimes."
I blame you.
Yeah, exactly.
I blame you. I blame you.
Right. Right. Somehow it's my fault, I'm sure. I will say.
I think you and
yeah, I'm sure that whatever Michael's saying is clever, but I'm not. Yeah, I love my Snyder, but I am utterly unable to make out what he's saying. What I will say is that we will post, and I will, at the end of the show here, I'm going to double back to something that when I was away, I begged both Albert and Kim to do something on. I said, this is significant. I'm telling you to our audience, people will know this guy. He's died. You must mention this. And Kim, in typical fashion, just said, like, what? Hey, dude, it's my show now. You're not here. So,
Kim, how are you?
Yeah. So, I you know what? I don't know who this guy is. So, F it. And so she didn't mention, aggressively didn't mention, because I reminded it over a couple days, the passing of John David J.D. Souther, a prolific songwriter and musician, helped shape the country rock sound that took root in Southern California. I'm talking about the Eagles, Linda Ronstadt. He wrote huge hits. He was only 78 years old. He collaborated on Best of My Love, New Kid in Town, Heartache Tonight. These are huge Eagles songs. Yeah. J.D. Souther is the genius behind them. He worked with James Taylor, Bonnie Raitt. He was about to start a tour with Carla Bonoff. Again, this means something to many of you who know this music. He was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2013. He was called the principal architect of the Southern California sound and a major influence on a generation of songwriters. Very much in the social scene. He went out with, and his girlfriend was Linda Ronstadt, Joni Mitchell, and Stevie Nicks. He went out with those three also sort of transformative women in this world of the recording industry. He sort of was a classic Southern, like Texan guy. Born in Detroit, but he grew up in Amarillo, Texas, moved to L.A. in the late 60s. He met Glenn Frey, who was, of course, a founding member of the Eagles, a guitarist. And they had a long-time partnership They even had a band together. And Glenn Frey used to credit J.D. Souther with introducing him to country music. And Souther was so close to the Eagles, he even was on the back cover of their 73 album, Desperado. It was a terrific collaboration because, as I say, Souther was the brilliant creative force behind so many of their great songs. So many great songwriters came through: Laura Nyro, Chris Christopherson, Randy Newman, Elton John, James Taylor, Carole King, Tim Hardin, Rick Nelson, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, Waylon Jennings. It seems impossible now to imagine that much music in a year and a half or so, but that was my life, J.D. Souther says, and the Troubadour was where they did so much of their work. A remarkable creative force, duets with Linda Ronstadt, and again, Faithless Love, and James Taylor with Her Town 2. That was a song that he collaborated on.
B.A. Ware says You're Only the Lonely was one of his as well.
There you go. Yeah, I think he did that by himself. I think he performed that song by himself, you know.
Used to be Your Town?
Used to be Your Town, I was just saying. Yeah, it was a James Taylor tune. Anyway, he is someone who was a transformative, creative force in the world of music. As I say, there was a romantic connection as well as a creative connection between J.D. Souther and Linda Ronstadt. You see them there. He worked with Don Henley and Christopher Cross and Dan Fogelberg and Roy Orbison. I mean, this guy was amazing. And again, I'm so glad we had a chance to double back and remember J.D. Souther, who passes away at age 78. Rest in peace, sir.
The Mark Thompson Show.
All right, now I am...
you have a lot of super chats and super stickers.
I do, and I'm anxious to acknowledge them, Kim, and acknowledge them I shall. Very supportive is Luis always. That preacher dude's flock can't worship with the cult of Trump. QVC Donnie's luxury watch, $100,000. Insane. Oh, that's right. That's the Movado watch guy. Where is he? That preacher with the Movado watch? I don't know. We took it off of our main...
Get a Movado watch at Sam's.
That's right. Where is my preacher? I think he's gone from the main...
He's been excommunicated.
Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters.
Yeah, that guy. Where's his Movado watch? I thought he had a Movado watch. Let me just find it. It's, you know.
You can buy a Movado watch in Sam's.
There it is. There it is.
Wow. Good grab. That was the preacher guy. Very good, Luis, for reminding us about the preacher guy.
You can buy a Movado watch in Sam's.
Now you can buy the Trump watch from his website. Can we follow up on the stats of the insurance claim denials? Oh, this is in relation to the
Florida,
hurricane?
Probably,
is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Yeah, no, contendo. Very good thought, and I will leave that to Kim to do. And, of course, so she won't do it, and then I'll have to double back and get it, just like I did J.D. Souther. Thank you very much. Now, James Haynes. Look at this. James Haynes, a $50, $49.99 super chat.
Big shout out.
Keep up the great work. Longtime listener from the KGO days. My wife and I are celebrating our 39th year of marriage.
What?
Hope you guys will be at it for a long time. Wow. That is pretty impressive.
Happy anniversary.
That is really great.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
Yeah, I don't think you have to cry. I think you have to be exuberant and maybe tears of joy. 39 years together. Wow. James, good stuff. I hope Kim and I can stay together for 39 years. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't.
I'm giving you balloons for 39 years.
Now,
That's
I don't think Kim and I will part because we don't get along. I think Kim and I will part because I will die. That is the yeah.
Well, that's lovely.
I'm not looking forward to it. In fact,
maybe
I'm
I'll
really
die. I mean, I could get hit by a truck tomorrow.
Well, I mean, you know, that anything could happen. But I'm just we're all death averse. Let's be clear about it. But do think that Kim will likely outlive me.
I mean, you're the vegan. You'll probably outlive all of us.
My pal Sam Simon, my darling Sam Simon, died. Was vegan from 18. He died when he was 59. Yeah. So it does happen. But anyway, on to happier things. We already noted this. Trevor Starr. Thank you. It was funny at the time, and it's still funny. No Contendo for a $2 super chat says his balance is shot. Proof, health issues, stroke. Is this in relation to Trump?
I think so.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that his balance is shot, so that's interesting. If everything is very special, doesn't that mean nothing is very special, says Louis. I think that's about the Trump pitch.
Big shout out.
Yeah, never thought of it even that way. Let's get nuts,
Big
says
shout
Spencer. Out. Yeah, right on. Lori, we haven't heard from Lori in a long time. I'm way behind listening today, but all are welcome at the Red Jack Saloon. Big shout out to the Red Jack Saloon in San Francisco. And we promise this time not to be sleeping if Mark shows up. The last time I was there, I asked for them, and they were both sleeping. Lori and Mark. Lori is a $20 Super Chat supporter, and I thank you for that. And I
thank you so much.
Also want to just acknowledge the Red Jack. They have a lot of our, like our stickers, like just what I have on this mug. I have the, a piece of our logo. Mm-hmm. And they have little stuff like that around their bar. It's a great spot. They'll have sports on in a big way. If you're going to San Francisco, check out the Red Jack Saloon. And maybe there's a chance for us all to meet there. We're going to be, if you're joining us late, we are going to be there in October. And I'm looking forward to spending some time in San Francisco and, if possible, hit the Red Jack, certainly hit that design show. So looking forward to that. Dave, A for effort on the Culture Blaster segment. Can't say you didn't try. We appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Big shout out.
It breaks my heart because Michael works hard on that segment, and we look forward to it, and I know you do too, so it breaks my heart not to have him on. Mr. Snyder, are you a fan of Tulsa King Season 2? We will ask him, Edward Lake,
Big shout out.
When he joins us. So we'll arrange a recorded adventure with Michael and make sure that it does work. Shameless plug for Kensington Farmers Market, Sunday 9 to 3. They're in the San Francisco Bay Area. Check it out. Sunday 9 to 3. Tony, do you ever go to a farmer's market? You seem like a kind of guy who might farmer's market it once in a while. No? You're working all the time? No time
usually
for a
working,
farmer's
yeah,
market?
that's the problem, or anything else.
How about you, Kim? Are you a farmer's market?
I enjoy a farmer's market, yeah.
Yeah, I like a farmer's market, too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I live kind of in, an agricultural zone.
Yeah, you're kind of living a farmer's market is what you're saying. Yeah, I understand. Well, look, I could sit here and talk longer, which, believe me, I'd like to do. It's what I love doing. But alas, if I do that, then the magic that is the After Party Live would never happen. A lot of people go over to the After Party Live. As you know, it's a show hosted after this show, which is the reason for the word after. And it's a live show. That's why they call it the After Party Live.
We'll do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
And it's hosted by Kim McAllister. So I encourage everybody to go check that out.
Kind of a question mark on that show today because I can't get into the StreamYard account. So that's weird.
No,
I don't know.
That's bizarre. Yeah. There's all kinds of strange stuff happening. I don't know. Anyway, one thing you can plan on. We'll be back here Monday. We have a big week ahead. I think we've got a couple of big interviews ahead. Tom Hartman is jumping on as well in the days ahead. So we have a lot of luminaries, a lot of high-profile people, and we will watch the weekend for all developments here on the show. And now, Shadow, if you would.
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
It's not over till Shadow says it.
Out of time. Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Till Monday. Bye-bye.